What is up, you guys? It is another episode of the Sci-Fly Zone, where the multiverse meets the seventh inning stretch. It's your boy Trenton and CJ, and today our destination is taking us back to the MCU, because we're going to be breaking down the Wonder Man trailer. And this trailer, it made me wonder, man.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's fair. That is a fair point. Yeah, it was pretty short. We didn't get much from it, you know. It was just like a 2 or 3 minute short trailer. Um, but seems like it's going to be uh generally around the creation of a superhero show. It's led by Simon Williams is going to be the main character, Wonder Man, and he's basically a struggling actor from Hollywood trying out for the new Wonder Man movie. So very meta concept here. They're making a TV show about a superhero auditioning for a TV show. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. We might get like a good look behind the curtain there. I know not everybody's going to be super happy about the meta-ness behind it, but I'm pretty interested in it, man.
Yeah, I wonder how that whole process went. Like, okay, I want you to act like you're auditioning for a role. You know
Right,
what I mean?
he's basically playing like a version of himself because he's playing a character who is trying out for this TV role, and he had to try out for this TV role in this character. So yeah, it's funny, funny little
Yeah, and the
like
show that they're rebooting is Wonder Man.
yes, yeah, that's it's a funny little concept that they're going with, but I'm really interested to see how it works out.
Me too. And I liked that it kind of showed him doing his little method process of getting into the role. And he's like, I'm struggling to create a backstory for this character and stuff like that. So I like that they're kind of going into what an actor would actually go through.
Yeah, totally. It's like the character is trying to like personalize the character that he's playing in the show based on his own experiences, and I'm sure that's exactly what the actor playing um, Simon Williams did for the role as well. You know, like we see like a scene of him like looking in the mirror, like trying to hype himself up, like okay, just go out there and crush it. You know, you can do this. And I imagine that's an experience that he personally has felt many times in the Hollywood world for himself.
Yeah. So, Wonder Man, his comic origin, according to Marvel fandom, are as follows. So, Wonder Man, aka Simon Williams, is a former actor turned superhero empowered by ionic energy, granting him superhuman powers. And he also has superhuman strength, speed, stamina, reflexes. He has flight, depending on what variation. It's either a jetpack or he just can do it naturally. He has access to healing, energy manipulation, shape shifting, teleportation, and even at times resurrection and immortality.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot going for him. You know, I feel like most of the Marvel shows or like the Disney Plus shows that they've been coming out kind of like have recently been like standing alone. They haven't really like explored the greater MCU, but I would be very curious to see how he would like match up against some of the other like big people that we know about in the MCU. And I'm curious to see if this is just going to be like a one-off thing, if this is going to be the only thing that he appears in, or if he appears in more stuff in the future.
How cool would it be if a certain individual saw a struggling actor and gave him the tools to succeed in the world?
Oh,
None other than Mephisto.
oh, I see. I see. I would
A
actually
deal
be.
with the devil to be successful in Hollywood. I mean, it's right there.
That's yeah, man. I mean, we hear about that. That's I I think that would be a that's honestly a great call. We very well may see Mephisto again at some point. I mean, we're gonna see him again at some point. Ironheart wasn't the only thing that he's gonna be in, you know, but we don't know when or where we're gonna see him next. But I think that would be an awesome addition.
Yeah, and the MCU is known for taking certain comic storylines and kind of adapting them to what would make more sense in the MCU. So if they did kind of want to change how he got his powers, that could be a way that they want to do it. And I do think it's
Yeah,
also interesting that in a very short amount of time, we're going to be getting two different actor-centered stories in the MCU and the DCU with Wonder Man and Clayface. Granted, they're both completely different in like the project's approach and themes and messages, but they are both centered on actors that do end up getting some sort of, I don't know. Do you call Clayface's stuff powers because it's pretty grotesque. I mean,
Yeah,
like he does have like superhuman strength and like durability and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I Wonder Man definitely is much more superhero guy powers rather than Clayface, which again kind of ties into the different approach that the projects are taking. But they're both centered on actors in that realm per se.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both of those projects coming out in the same year, there's going to be a lot of comparisons between the two for sure. So I'm curious to see which one kind of like wins over the population more. Which one do people think do they enjoy more? Because that's probably what the comparison is going to be. Did you like Wonder Man more or did you like Clayface more? And that's probably how a lot of the conversations are going to go. But Marvel's in a really interesting position right now because 2025 has been a very it's been a mixed bag for Marvel. I'd say there's been a lot of good, but there's been some not so good. There's been things that people have like been very critical of. Obviously, with Captain America: Brave New World, got quite a bit of like negative reviews. I know we generally enjoyed it, at least from what I remember.
Like
But
if you turn your brain off, it's
yeah,
a pretty fun watch. Like there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
cool action stuff, but like when you break down like why certain characters are interacting with each other, it doesn't make too much sense. And also that movie was edited and reshot to like the ground. So
yeah,
the fact that we got something resembling a cohesive story and an arc is like enough to appreciate.
yeah.
Like
Honestly,
the fact that it's not like regarded like Thor the Dark World, it like should be appreciated.
that's a fair point. That is, yeah, it could be worse. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, people were critical of that, and then even with Marvel Zombies, people were pretty critical of as well. There, people have had some negative things to say. But in between those two, were two of the best like movies that Marvel's made in the last several years, with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four: First Steps, which were both received very well. It's going to be telling to see how this performs in the new year. Marvel has a chance to like start off the new year hot, get themselves running. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this performs.
Yeah, and Marvel also has a really big opportunity to kind of jump off of the negative feedback of the Peacemaker finale with people feeling unresolved with the storylines that the finale did. Because if Marvel can do some really good setup and payoffs, then that might be appreciated a lot more given the certain climate that we're in right now where people are feeling pretty unresolved.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like Marvel and DC are competitors right now. Obviously, they're making like similar stuff. They're making similar genre. They're cranking out a bunch of stuff in the next
Yeah.
several years. And um, when you have something like Peacemaker, which was for the first 7 episodes very well received, but then it ends kind of flat-footed a little bit, that can kind of make people wonder what's on the other side. And like, okay, well, I'm not really enjoying this right now. Maybe I go see what's going on with Marvel. I know that Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four were successful, so maybe I should give it a chance. Maybe I should see what's going on over there. And it's going to be um, not only does it like hurt DC a little bit, but it helps Marvel in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And definitely being able to take advantage of people who are kind of feeling more in a gray area emotionally, because there's obviously some people who are just DC fans and just Marvel fans, but there's a good chunk of fans who like both, like you and me. So it definitely makes you appreciate when one side is doing things better. I mean, that's why Marvel is currently the way it is, because the Zack Snyderverse did so poorly and Marvel succeeded so well at the same time. So if that like things could be different if the Snyderverse, was done better, but that's just not how we're in. But Superman sent the DCU back way up top because Marvel hasn't been good lately, but now things are kind of back down again with the Peacemaker stuff. So it's constantly fluctuating.
Yeah, you mentioned the Zack Snyderverse, which was a pretty controversial period for DC. And around that same time, Marvel was building off the success of Infinity War and Endgame. But now that we've seen the success from Creature Commandos and Superman, along with like some underperforming Marvel projects in the last couple years, we're seeing people take the DCU a lot more seriously than they have been the last couple of years. So maybe there's some added pressure to Marvel to kind of punch back with another solid project.
Exactly. And we did see that they are changing to a more quality over quantity type of approach as well. So happy to see that. Um, speaking of the DCU, the leader of Baravia, the guy that played him, is currently the director of the reboot in the Wonder Man show. Same actor.
Yeah, Hawk Girl just threw him into a completely different universe.
Li- Nice. That was good.
But yeah, it was funny seeing him there. He seems like he's going to be playing a pretty entertaining character, and I wonder if maybe he's going to be the villain of this show, or if he's going to have a connection to the villain in some way, or if he's just going to be this like sort of comedy relief character that kind of gets him into the Wonder Man show.
I think probably the second is true because I don't know what they're going to do for his origin for the powers at all. And the trailer did nothing of the sorts to hint at it either. So
Yeah,
we'll find out. Hopefully we get another trailer that gives a bit more context. And if that does happen, we'll definitely talk about it and theorize from there. But yeah, also people said that the poster for the OG movie in the universe looks like it was made with AI. I agree.
mm,
And it's not the first time that Marvel has used AI. They used it for Secret Invasion's intro. And yes, obviously the AI did kind of tie into the concept of the show of things not looking as they seem. I don't want to be on the nose, but things looking artificial. So I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel did use a bit of AI to at least like enhance some stuff or stuff like that. But personally, I'm on the FAI boat.
yeah, I agree. I know it's like it is a pretty popular thing in Hollywood now. Like a lot of studios are using AI, unfortunately, for like a lot of the visual stuff. So hopefully, it's gonna be like a take on like maybe they're gonna address it in some way and be like, oh, this is a bad thing though. Why AI is a bad thing? But it seems like that's probably not gonna be the case. It seems like they're kind
Yeah,
of just using it to cut corners in some way, which is unfortunate.
I agree. But we also see Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi. Pretty cool. I love that he's included in this. It honestly kind of makes a lot of sense because, he's an actor. He's been in the industry for years, more or less for different reasons in the past. But I really like that he's still in here. It makes a lot of sense. And I think it's also funny that he is himself going for the Wonder Man role.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. Yeah, it seems like they don't really have a typecast for this role. They're really accepting anybody who wants to do it. Like it doesn't matter if you're 30, if you're 70. Like if you're good, you can be Wonder Man.
Yeah, I do like that aspect of it. So yeah, I am just curious how that whole plot line is going to work out. Like, how are they going to meet? Why do they seem to be best buds? And what about them two makes it so that they're one of the finalists?
Yeah, yeah. I'm because we see like he gets invited to his house. I'm pretty sure is what it
Yeah,
is. Like
yeah,
it's
the
in
big ass mansion.
yeah, big guy mansion. Yeah, obviously something had to happen to make it to that point.
Yeah, and while they're in the mansion, actually, the director says the line, "We are going to make the last movie on Earth," which is followed up with the line, "No one will have the balls to make another." But low key, that line kind of made me think, like, what if there is actually some sort of crisis going on in the broader MCU that made him want to say this line because there might not be many movies left to make if the world might end? Like, what if he's referring to the space crisis that was teased in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene? I'm definitely reaching a little bit, but I just it's a very deliberate line and a very deliberate line to put in the trailer. They certainly kept a lot of other things hidden, so I wonder why they put that line in specifically. I couldn't leave it alone.
Yeah, it does seem like a very specific line delivery and written in there. And like you mentioned, like it being in the trailer too, does feel like it probably says something. Um, I could see it being something to do with the broader space crisis. I mean, maybe it's not that no one has the balls to make another movie. Maybe nobody has the chance to make another movie because of this space crisis going
Yeah,
on.
and also Wonder Man does seem to be very space themed, at least the show that's being rebooted. So that could also tie into it as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That is a good point.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, man. Sorry guys. I know a lot of you probably just rolled your eyes. I had to do it. But no, I'm very excited for this show. I am very happy that they casted and forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation of his name, but I believe it's Yahya Abdul Mateen II. So I'm very happy that they casted him in the movie. He's actually also appeared in the Zack Snyderverse. He was Black Manta, the villain in the Aquaman movie. So he has experience in being superhero stuff. He knows how to have a presence when he's on screen. You know, I'm definitely really entertained to see him kind of play the comedic aspects of the character, but then once he kind of gains powers and kind of is able to insert himself into higher stakes situations, I'm curious how that's all going to unfold, because in the comics, based on the description, this guy it could be top 5.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. The abilities that he has are like not really comparable to a lot of the other people in the MCU that we've seen, you know. And I do think that he is a very good cast for this role. I think he's going to do a great job. He seemed like he's doing really well with the character from what I saw in the trailer. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but I'm looking forward to see more of what he does with this character, and especially with the people behind this project and who are making it. It's written and produced by Destin Daniel Cretton, who we know did Shang-Chi, and he's also directing Spider-Man Brand New Day, and was originally going to be a big part of making Avengers 5 before it became Avengers Doomsday. So they have a lot of faith in Cretton. He's
Yeah,
been doing a great job.
also totally true. Also, I like that you bring that up, because if he's directing it, he's going to be knowing a lot of the canon that's happening between those films. So he might have a better idea on how to work around those things or work them into the story a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't want to like. I mean, we the only thing we can do right now is speculate. But if maybe we're gonna see like some other characters from the MCU that we know of in California as well,
Yeah,
like Shang-Chi, like Scott Lang. So maybe we could see him crossing paths with these guys.
I would
There
love
was
that.
a that I mean, it would be super cool. There was a very specific quote that I saw from a man named Brad Winderbaum, who's one of the execs at
Oh
Marvel
yeah,
Studios.
yeah, yeah. Winterbaum's word has a lot of weight on it.
And he said that fans of the West Coast Avengers are going to be excited about this. So, I mean, I don't know what that's. We might get something really cool, man. It could be something really cool in this project, or it could set up something awesome for the future. But like, I think there's some very high potential for the show.
Dude, I can't believe he said that.
Yeah, yeah,
Also,
yeah.
Vision Quest is coming out. Vision was on the West Coast Avengers.
Oh yeah, he was.
It could tie into that for
It
sure.
could totally tie into that. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm the more we talk about this, the more excited I get because I don't know what to expect and I don't know what's going to happen, but there are so many different things that could happen.
Yeah, and obviously Kate Bishop is not in California, but Hawkeye was in the West Coast Avengers, so maybe one of them two could also get involved. They have been leading up to a Young Avengers project, so maybe they could use that to kind of get her into the West Coast a little bit and tie into that story a little bit. That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think that would be really awesome.
War Machine has also been part of the West Coast Avengers, so I am taking absolutely any opportunity to get Rhodey back into the equation.
Yeah,
Any
man.
opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. We mentioned like several months ago, I think the episode that we were one of the episodes we were talking about Doomsday and who would be on what team. We said like, I want War Machine back. Bring back Rhodey on screen. He's not doing enough. So I think this would be a great way to get him back involved.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would love to see him get back involved. Also, I know Marvel is afraid to do absolutely anything with Moon Knight, but Moon Knight was on the West Coast Avengers. So if they can find a way to work him back into things, I will also take that. Also, we did see a version of Moon Knight in Marvel Zombies. We did see Khonshu again. So they
Yeah.
are kind of hinting at the fact that, he's still around. He's still, kicking around in a different universe, granted, but they're still reminding us of his existence to a degree.
Yeah, totally. They're making sure that we don't forget about him, right? That he's like still an option, that he's still here. Don't forget about him. He could come back in the future, which I think would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, man. I'm really hyped to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, yeah. It's some really exciting stuff, man.
So yeah, that has been the review for the Wonder Man trailer. Very excited for it and seeing what implications it has towards Doomsday. We cover all sorts of Marvel stuff. We'll be covering all sorts of DC stuff. If you guys like baseball stuff, we're currently covering the playoffs. So after this video, we're actually be doing a playoff update with everything that's happened so far since we last covered Major League Baseball. So if you like that, feel free to tune in for that. Also, we also post a bunch of shorts, so feel free to check those out. And if you have anything that you would like us to talk about, leave it down in the comments. We'll be happy to talk about it. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good one. Peace.